Greetings friends and fans of YouTube, it's nice to see you all again. Welcome to another one of my videos. So today I'm going to be reviewing this. This is my Esp Ltd EX50 in Silver Sparkle. Now, I have to admit, it's been a while since I've uploaded. I can only really apologise for that. I've had life stuff going on, as you do. But I had to get in to do a review of this because this is absolutely insane for what it is. So as with any video I ever do, I'm going to go through some specs, I'm going to go through some tones, and obviously leave you information regarding the pricing. I want to give a big shout out to Glenn Coop, who allowed me to buy this off of him. His band's link will be in the description for this video, and I cannot thank him enough for the condition that this came to me in. So let's get started with the specs then. So the body, as you'll see, is an Explorer type body, and it is basswood. Meaning it's quite light, even by an Explorer's standards. It's quite light and it's well balanced. There's a little bit of neck dive, but not enough to be untoward. I mean, if you're like myself that plays things a bit higher anyway, it's not really that noticeable. The neck is maple, and again, this one's a pre-CITES model, so this one is rosewood. It has 22 frets, 2 of ESP's own high output humbucking pickups, 1 tone, 1 volume, a 3-way switch, and the inline 6 headstock that Esp Ltds are quite well known for. The tuning keys are ESP's own, and it is built in Indonesia. Now the finish, as you'll not be able to see that well unless I come a little closer, is actually silver, and it has got a little bit of shimmer in the paint so that it does reflect quite nicely. So you can, as you can see, obviously it's reflecting all the light quite nicely. It makes it look white. Now, I bought this second hand, and with it being an extreme shaped guitar, I thought it might be in meh condition. It actually came in a really well padded gig bag and not a single mark on it, and this is 10 years old, this guitar. So again, massive thanks to Glenn Coop for looking after such an amazing instrument. And be sure to check out his band in the description as a way of support from me and from my community. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go through some tones. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this does not have a coil tap. It is an entry model Explorer. It's the EX50 range, not the EX200 or 400. However, it's serious bang for the buck. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over to the clean channel on my amp, and then I'm going to go through some tones. There we are, guys, so I am back now on the clean channel. For those that want to know my signal chain, it is literally my Samsung mobile camera, my Esp EX50 using a Lady wireless system going straight into my Blackstar ID Core 20 modelling amp. Now this amp has many modelling functions including cleans, acoustic simulators and crunchers. I've put this on the bright warm setting, which is obviously it's nice clean tone. It's lovely and bright. There's just a little bit of reverb on just so it doesn't sound too dead. So let's begin. Just want to point out as well, it is a string through body Tunematic style bridge, and it has 24 and 3/4 inch scale length, so it's got Les Paul scale length, which makes it even more fun to play. So let's start then with some cleans. So this is in the neck position on full humbucker. Here we go. So it's lovely and warm, it's quite well rounded, And I admit the pickups weren't as responsive as I expected when I first got them. Obviously, I understand it's an entry model, so it's not going to have the best hardware in there, but I did expect that the pickups would be a little more clear, and when they're distorted, had a little bit more grit to them. But I'll get to that as it comes to it. So just for that lovely lead style sound that this can give out. Lovely and warm, lovely and rounded. It does what it says on the tin, really. It's just really nice. It plays well, it's not too bass heavy either, so it just sits nicely in the mix. So I'm going to switch straight now to the two pickups split in the mid position, and here we go. Admit, for a split pickup set, that is really, really nice. It's really clear, it's really resonant. It's not too fuzzy, I suppose. It just seems to sit really nicely and really balanced in the mix there. And again, just for that lead style sound. It does arguably favour the bridge a little more and brings out some of the higher end in that mix there. But again, it's twangy, it's nice, it's what you'd expect maybe a Telecaster to sound like. And now let's go straight to the bridge. The bridge is always, as everyone knows, my favourite position to play on, apart from when I'm playing clean stuff. But let's see how this holds up. And again, for entry-level pickups, incredibly clear and very versatile. And again, just for that lead comparison sound. Definitely has that very, and it might just be the way I've got it dialed in, but it's definitely got that very Black Album era Metallica kind of feel, that sort of vintage sound with the pickups. Even though they're not active, and James Hetfield is obviously a massive user of EMGs. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to split over to my crunch channel, which is going to be the overdrive one sitting on the Black Star amp. Now, as I said before, it is a modelling amp and it is a processing amp, so it's got a lot built into it. I'm going to keep the reverb on the mix and we'll see how it sounds with a little bit of gain. So I am back now, guys, on the gain channel there, and again in the neck position. Now I will say obviously that the gain channel for this does cater quite well to different amps, different pickups and different styles that you want to get out of it. But because these aren't very gritty pickups, it can sound a little boomy and a little flat. I mean, this is strung with 10s as well, so obviously the strings are obviously categorically thicker, and I do pick with quite a bit of an attack, so it sounds very thumpy. It is because these pickups aren't quite as mid-resonant as I'd like for playing metal. But you'll hear that as I go along. So, into the neck position then, here we go. flubby is the best way I can describe that. It's nothing to do with the intonation or setup. This has been set up perfectly. It is just to do with the fact that these pickups aren't quite as gritty as they might need to be to play some of the more extreme styles, and the amp ends up doing a lot more of the work. The amp is having to put in a lot more distortion just to get it to what I sound like, so I usually have my gain a little bit higher when I'm playing this. Just for that lead style sound there. It's nice and it's warm and very vintage sounding. Sounds a lot more like it sounds single coily even in places, but it does sound a lot more like what a vintage path pickup might sound like, for that sort of warm lead, but not so good underdriven. Maybe a crunch as opposed to an overdrive when playing in the neck, or a pickup upgrade. I will also mention as well that the Blackstar's gain channels do have a built-in noise gate, which I admit has been really handy for filming videos. So I'm going to do the pickups split there in the mid position, and here we go. Some of that gain is starting to come out a little more now as the mix shifts towards the mids and the treble side of things, obviously with the bridge pickup being hotter, but it's still flubby in that low end. It's not as tight as some of the guitars I've reviewed, but again, it's an entry-level series one, and it isn't an entry-level player by any stretch of the imagination, and with a good set of pickups in it, this will be a perfectly giggable axe. At the moment, I'm using it to write, and it's just fantastic for writing with. I've come up with some brilliant riffs and licks for my band using this. So just again for that lead comparison sound. Again, very vintage kind of sound, and again, that sort of Telecaster-y sort of single coil or lipstick pickup kind of sound. Really, really good for some of the high-end twang, but maybe not quite as warm as the neck, which is what you'd expect. So the final position now, guys, is the bridge. This is the position I enjoy most, it's the position I use most, and I am going to riff out a little bit here. I'm going to play an excerpt from what I played at the beginning, which is Dead Skin Mask by Slayer, just to give you an idea of some of the tones that you can get with this. So as you can hear, it's gritty where it needs to be, but it's not quite as maybe resonant as with the DiMarzios that I had, the EMGs that I've had, and even some of the more higher end guitars like the Epiphones that I've had. The pickups have just had a little bit more bark to them, but still good enough to practice, to write with, and I do intend to swap the pickups in this, I'm not going to lie about it. Let me know in the comments what you think I should switch it to. Do you reckon I should go active again and go EMGs, or get a really nice set of bare knuckles? Just let me know in the comments, because I'm struggling to decide which ones to put in it. And again, just for that lead comparison sound there. Lovely and bright, really good for if you want to write something with some serious sort of high end to it, maybe something quite fieldsy, Obviously, flitting between the neck and the bridge will give you that lovely tonal resonance that you could get for writing the solo for like a ballad track or something along those kind of lines. So what do I reckon to it overall? Well, I've always been a fan of Pointy guitars. I cut my teeth on a Pointy guitar, an Ibanez Destroyer, a mini Destroyer. I've had various Flying V's over the years, including the White Randy Rose Jackson. And my mate Andy lent me his Epiphone Explorer, and I fell in love with the shape again, so I had to have another one. This also, obviously with me being in a metal band, it doesn't look out of place on stage. Now you can pick these models up second hand for around £220. I believe brand new they're just over the 300 mark. And I looked out in the condition of mine. Mine is in perfect condition, and I'm not sure that they make this colour anymore. I do know that they do it in black and white though. So that is it for this review, guys. I hope you have enjoyed obviously listening to this guitar, and if you're an aspiring player obviously wanting to try something a little more high-end, this would definitely be worth the go. I do advise obviously possibly switching out the tuning keys and the pickups as well, just for a little bit of extra grunt and some tuning stability. But other than that, it is a solid all-rounder for what it is. I would recommend it for a beginner or a pro. Obviously for pros it's more of a mod project, but it has that lovely C-shaped profile neck that's just really, really buttery to play. For beginners, it gives you a good idea as to what an extreme guitar feels like in terms of the weight, and what it sounds like in terms of the resonance that you get, because you've got complete tonal resonance between your neck and your body. And if you're like me, when I was 15, 16 and saw these guitars, you'll fall in love with it instantly. But that is it for me, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed, and I will leave links to my band's Facebook page and also a link to Glenn Coop's band's page, as I can't thank him enough for sending me this. As always, guys, take care, and I'll see you soon.